Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Morning, everyone. Ray Flowers, FantasyGuru.com. We got an issue here. We got itchies. We got an issue with the old mouse. Had to plug it in. Sorry for the little bit of a delay there at the start. I guess that the mouse said that I'm going to continue to act like it's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to show up for work on time today. I'm here on time today. Hopefully you're having a good day today. Good follow-up to yesterday's wondrous experience, I would hope, on Thanksgiving. Hope you had a lot of turkey, a lot of stuffing. What are your favorite foods to have at Thanksgiving? If anyone watching wants to leave a comment in the old chat room, love to hear that. I'm partial to stuffing. That's me. I kind of like the stuffing. Yeah, gravy and stuffing. I could probably live in butter. I'm kind of old school when it comes to that stuff. But we had a really nice Thanksgiving here. Hope you did, again, wherever you were, whether you were watching football games, whether you were spending time with family and friends, all that kind of stuff. Did you, like me, look at your email this morning and have like an email from every single company you ever bought something from? Like, I had 120 emails this morning, and it's like, I'm looking at this list. I'm like, yeah, 8 years ago. Like, you too? I mean, they're coming out hot and heavy trying to get this Black Friday thing here. We got a football game here in a couple of hours. Obviously, I assume a lot of you be watching that. If you have any late questions, you can always hit us up in Discord over at FantasyGuru.com. We're in chat room, that kind of thing as well. But yeah, are you going out on Friday? Are you a Black Friday guy? In the old days, I was asking my lady this last night. In the old days on Black Friday, you would wait, and like people would go out at 11 o'clock at night and wait in line and the whole thing. Does anyone do that anymore? Or is everything just online? So it doesn't matter. Does anyone wait out line? I mean, I know there's still places where like the first 50 people get a toaster or something. I've never waited in a Black Friday line. I will never wait in a Black Friday line. I don't need to save $100 that badly, but have you ever done that? Have you ever waited in a Black Friday line? Yeah, interesting. Let me know. Again, I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining me here today. As we're here, we were here yesterday. For those of you that were hearty souls with us on Thanksgiving, we did a live show yesterday. Went about 50 minutes, a little bit longer than we thought we would. And I want to thank everyone for being there with us and all the kind wishes and all that yesterday. Tyler Beaker and I. Today, I'll be joined by Russell Clay. He'll join us here in about 25, 30 minutes. And with Russ, we'll talk over, I'll throw it up on the screen here. We'll talk over some of the big outstanding issues in Week 13, and that includes a lot of what happened to Lamar Jackson. You and I will talk about that in a few minutes here. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones has got a broken leg, but he's going to play. Aaron Rodgers is back. What is going on in the backfield? Hampton, Neal, Benson, a couple of injured receivers. Both are expected to play at this point. McLaurin and DeVonta Smith. We'll talk to Russell Clay about those things. Before then, we'll talk Thursday football. We'll go through all the games here. We'll also preview the game between the Bears and the Eagles tonight. As you can see there on the screen, for those of you that weren't with us yesterday, we debuted the Man's Giving Special. I don't know how long the sale is going to last. It may only be today. It may go through Sunday. It may go into next week. I don't know the answer. But right now, if you use the code GRAVY25, 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 that gets you a 25% discount on any product at FantasyGuru.com. You want to buy the MVP plan, which is everything besides baseball and football, use the promo code GRAVY25. You want to get our football package, which, remember, includes all seasonal football, all DFS football, all betting football for the NFL and for college football. You want to get all of that, it's $99.99 on the discount right now. Use the promo code GRAVY25. It's now $75. So use that. Please use it now, because we always get people say, hey, can I get a deal? Hey, can I get a discount? GRAVY25 for any of the sale. If you want to get all in VIP platinum package for the entire year for everything we do, use the promo code GRAVY25. Use that code GRAVY25. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner, or you can also always send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. As I've been saying, don't send stardom, sit-em, waiver wire questions to the email address. It's a business email address. If you have any questions about whatever product you have, you want to make changes, you want to make additions, support@fantasyguru.com. Angelo says, no, I've waited in line for concert tickets. Yeah, that's back in the day. I get that. Remember Ticketmaster was the big thing back when I was young, probably with you too, Angelo. Let's see here. Nick says, got to be homemade stuffing, no stovetop. I can't say that I hate stovetop because I don't mind it, but we had two kinds of stuffing yesterday. There's the traditional kind that goes in the bird, and then there's kind of a family recipe kind. So I actually get two kinds of stuffing. My lady made two types of stuffing. So I love that. Bread's like my favorite thing. Henry, we'll talk about this in a few minutes. Henry says, do you think Lamar had too much turkey? Should he be bench moving forward? I will speak to this in a few minutes, and we will also ask Russell Clay his thoughts on this, Henry. So it's the pertinent question of the day, and we'll dive into it here in a little bit. All right, let's start out with the first game, the Packers and the Lions. And this was a good game, right? 31-24. Game was marred by the injury to Amon-Ra St. Brown. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Josh Jacobs returned on the Packers side and, looked pretty good. 5 yards a carry. He did leave the game for a little bit after taking a hit from Branch, but played through it. Was quite effective, but he didn't get in the end zone. And he also only had one catch. Yeah, one catch. So instead of those 4 or 5 catches that he's been getting to give him a boost in value, if he doesn't get in the end zone, he didn't get in the end zone, didn't really get involved as a pass catcher. So it was 18 touches for 91 yards. Again, a solid day. Good to see him back out on the field. I think that's the key, is that he was able to play moving forward. We know that he'll be the lead engine of this offense. He dominated the touches and all that kind of stuff. He just wasn't able to get in the end zone. So his fantasy day was a moderate one. Obviously, the big reason he didn't get in the end zone is because Jordan Love, the guy we talked about yesterday, who I did pick up in the FSGA league, threw 4 touchdown passes. 18 for 30, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Jaden Reed did not play in this game. Dontavian Wicks actually had the best game ever. 6 catches, 94 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. Great effort for Dontavian Wicks. He also had a carry. Christian Watson, 4 for 80 and 1. Romeo Doubs, 4 for 20 and 1. Doubs continues to be a guy you can utilize. Again, 4 catches, 20 yards, but he got in the end zone. So he was a fine option for you. So, and I think he continues to be that guy you play when, you got guys hurt and you really need somebody, but you don't really have anyone on the waiver wire. That's kind of who Romeo Doubs is. Dontavian Wicks, splash game. Good for him. However, we do expect Reed to be back the next game for the Packers, which is a big deal. Let's pull up the snap shares, too, of the receivers for this game for the Packers. Remember, youngster Matthew Golden was out with that wrist injury, too. Doubs played 52 snaps. Watson played 45 snaps. Wicks, 31 snaps. But he was only behind the other 2 in terms of routes run by 4. So he was heavily involved. Will that change when Golden is healthy? Probably. Will it change when Reed is healthy? Probably. So Wicks, don't go chasing on the waiver wire, right? Understand, again, this is still the Packers. Understand they're not having 4 touchdown games frequently. Understand Wicks isn't scoring 2 touchdowns again. Understand he's very unlikely to ever get 7 targets again this season, provided the rest of the crew is healthy. So keep that all in mind. Watson, I see a lot of people doing victory laps on Watson. And yeah, he had a touchdown. It was a 51-yarder. Didn't really catch it clean, did he? He just ran fast, and Love made a nice throw. And he turned 10 targets into 4 catches. So as we had him in the top 30 as a wide receiver this week, and he obviously paid that off, and he's fine. But I just want to pump the brakes a little bit because I'm seemingly feeling from a lot of people that Watson is a star. He's catching 4 passes every week. If he's getting in the end zone, okay. If he's not getting in the end zone, he's catching 4 passes every week. In terms of the tight end, we obviously have lost Kraft, so we're down to, we thought we were. This situation's a mess. Fitzpatrick has kind of taken over from Musgrave, who also lost snaps, to Weil. I don't know what they're doing at the tight end spot. They don't know what they're doing at the tight end spot. There are now 3 guys involved at the tight end spot. We'll talk about the Bengals in a second. They got 4 guys involved. There are many teams in the NFL that are doing this, and I don't really get it. Lots of teams in the NFL, actually. Steelers, another one, right? Using 3 tight ends, 4 tight ends every week. It's just a mess. But anyway, that's kind of the run. Why is the camera not working well today? That is kind of messy. Let's see if we can adjust that real quickly here. I was all impressed and excited about the fact that my camera was working well. Let's see here. Is that going to... No, that just changes it. What is the exposure rate? What is the image rate? Now I don't know why we're a little messed up today, but I guess I'm just going to be a little bit pixelated. For those of you listening on a podcast, just type in Fantasy Sports Daily to your podcast network. You can find us there. Go to FG, click that Elite Plus tab at the top of the page. You can find the show in podcast form there. So you may not even care if I'm a little wishy-washy here with the movements, but for those of you that are watching, I apologize for that. You can still see me. The timing still is pretty good. So like a little bit of delay here or whatever. It looks fine on your end. Okay, good, Angela. I'm glad it works fine on your end. 3 places to watch the show. Leave comments and questions live, as we've already done today. YouTube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite, and Facebook.com/Fantasy Series, Facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ. Geez, that was a hard one to get out. Those three places you can always watch on demand as well. Okay, on the other side of things with the Lions, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown going down with the ankle injury was terrible. Just a crushing game for those of you in fantasy. Is there a more consistent high-end receiving option than Amon-Ra? No, there's not. So to have him play just a handful of snaps and go down with the ankle injury is a killer. We're hearing reports suggesting that he's likely to miss a couple of weeks with the ankle, though. They're saying it's a low ankle sprain, so that's good news. High ankle sprains are much more difficult and tricky. Again, we'll talk more about this with Russell Clay here in a few minutes. But the bottom line is he went down. So Jamison Williams saw a huge 10-target game. Caught 7 balls for 144 yards and a touchdown. Really wish these guys would just make plays. Like every time Williams caught a ball, he was glaring at somebody or staring at somebody. Just make a play and go back to the huddle, dude. Like, come on, man. So anyway, because I know Jamison Williams, who weighs less than I do, would probably fare very well in a fight with some guy. Just play football, dude. Anyway, huge fantasy game for him. Tesla, who saw a massive uptick in snap share yesterday, who basically was on the field the whole time. It ended up being Williams, Kennedy, and Tesla. Ugh. Tesla did get the touchdown. That was great. Only had 2 catches, only had 2 targets. So, Kennedy caught 4 balls for 36 yards. He's been around forever. He's a practice squad guy. Khalif Raymond floating around here too. So, Tesla's the guy that people are probably going to be talking about adding next week. And in theory, okay, I get it. But again, even with the 10 targets that ARSB gets open, only saw 2 targets go to Tesla. So be cautious there with him. On the ground, look, when you get 23 touches to Gibbs, it's a win, right? Unfortunately, it was a very poor performance in terms of yards. He didn't even get to 80 scrimmage yards. He didn't get to 90 scrimmage yards, and he didn't have a touchdown. After going for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns seemingly every week, very disappointing effort, though the workload was there for him. David Montgomery, not much workload, but he caught a couple of passes, had 48 yards from scrimmage, and had that rushing score. So he paid off-ish. Not really, kind of, for those people that started him this week. So, I think the big key here is, the health of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, and then Brock Wright had the neck injury we all knew about, but ended up not playing yesterday. So it ended up being Ross Dwelley and Anthony Ferkser. So we're talking about tight ends 3 and 4 in the roster now, because obviously Laporta's out. Lions fall to 7-5. They gonna make the playoffs? They've almost lost a home game to the Giants. They just lost a home game to the Packers. Packers moved to 8-3-1. Kansas City falls to the Cowboys 28-31. The Chiefs fall to 6-6. The Cowboys improved to 6-5-1. Chiefs also, they gonna make the playoffs? I mean, it's crazy to say Chiefs in the playoffs, maybe. Ravens in the playoffs, maybe. Lions in the playoffs, maybe. Like, this is a wild NFL season, and it's why so many people love the NFL, because things can change so quickly, like overnight, which is crazy. On the side of the Chiefs, 4 touchdown passes from Patrick Mahomes, huge win. Much like Jordan Love, huge fantasy effort for Patrick Mahomes. I think he was our number 1 quarterback on the slate this week in terms of the rankings. Wasn't a, oh my God, I can't believe it happened game, but 4 touchdown passes. Huge game for Mahomes. 2 of those go to Rashee Rice, who continues to be an absolute banger since his return from injury. He had 12 more targets. He had a carry. He had 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 scores. He was the bee's knees, as he has been. He's kind of the driving force of the offense. Travis Kelce, 5 catches, 45 yards and a touchdown. He's the number 2 guy here. Xavier Worthy, who we talked about, who Jeff Mans was really pro-worthy this week. He didn't have a bad game. Like, he didn't have a good game. He didn't have a standout game to Xavier Worthy, but he caught 4 balls for 61 yards, which is as good as he has done really as a pass catcher since Rice has returned. And he also had 2 carries for 13 yards. So it was a fine game. It gets you 11, 12 PPR points, whatever it is. Didn't get in the end zone, so, but it was a fine game if you played Worthy. No one else here as a pass catcher did anything. The big story for the team probably was the work in the backfield. Isaiah Pacheco returned, and it didn't matter. He had 5 touches. Hunt had 15. Hunt didn't do anything as we predicted. 58 yards on the ground, 4 yards a carry is league average. Didn't get in the end zone. So as we've talked about, if Hunt isn't getting in the end zone, he's useless. it'll be really interesting to see what happens the next game for the Chiefs, because Pacheco coming back from injury, and he's done this a couple of times. When he's come back from the injury, they've slow played in that first game. So I think it's reasonable to think next time out for the Chiefs, we see a larger workload for Pacheco. Doesn't mean that the lead guy isn't Hunt. That doesn't mean that Hunt isn't the goal line back, because he is. It's just a situation where they just don't run the ball effectively. And not only do they not run the ball effectively, they've got all kinds of issues on the offensive line. And that's a huge problem here. Trey Smith didn't play. Josh Simmons hurt his wrist, and there's legit concerns whether he's going to be able to build for the next game. Jawan Taylor, the right tackle. So that's right guard, left tackle, right tackle, all beat up. So that's a big problem for this team moving forward in terms of their rushing attack. So we'll continue to monitor that situation moving forward. Cowboys, again, the Cowboys won this game. And I don't think on this, we had our staff picks. They come out every week over at fantasyguru.com. And I'm not looking at it right now, but I think everyone picked the Chiefs in this game. So the Cowboys, won that home game. They moved to 6-5-1, despite the announcers falling all over themselves about the Cowboys. They still got a road here to make the playoffs, but they're certainly in position to do so after what was a slow start. Their defense has started to improve a little bit. On the offensive side of things, Dak Prescott is loving life with Lamb and Pickens. He went for 320 yards and 2 scores yesterday. CeeDee Lamb, 7 for 112 and 1. Only 688 for Pickens, which kind of like that Trey McBride situation we talked about last week in the 3-and-done league that I'm in. Played Pickens this week. 6 for 88. I think it was 9 for 79 or something like that for McBride last time. 15 points, is that bad? No. Is it slightly disappointing with the way Pickens has been? Yeah, but it still was a very good effort. He did lead the team, by the way, with 13 targets. Jake Ferguson, 5 catches, 36 yards, no scores. Ferguson is like so many tight ends across the land in that he's a pass catcher who doesn't do much after the catch, who isn't utilized to stretch the field. So when he's catching, 4, 5, 6 passes, it's often 30 to 48 yards, right? It's very uneven in terms of big numbers, very uneven in terms of explosiveness. Not even uneven, it doesn't happen. It's got to be about the touchdown. So, 8.6 PPR points for Ferguson. It's a tight end. It's a tight end. He's not going to get in the end zone as frequently as he has been this season. We all right know that. We should know that. On the background, Javonte Williams, 17 carries, 59 yards, didn't do anything. The Chiefs are a difficult team to run against, so it is not a surprise that Williams struggled there. He also caught 3 balls, including a touchdown reception, so he still paid off. He had, 80 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown, so he paid off. Malik Davis, 3 carries, 47 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he got in the end zone. He played 9 snaps. So, he continues to be active over Jaden Blue. That is the decision they have made at this point. But explosiveness on a limited touch count is kind of what we're getting with Malik Davis. Again, remember, this is Fantasy Sports Daily. We're here with you Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We go about an hour each day. After this show ends, about an hour after it, actually, you head over to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio for the Elite Sports Show with Jeff Mans. That show's from 2 to 5 Eastern, Monday through Friday. So that'll be on again today. Excuse me there as I try to hydrate after my beer drinking yesterday. Let's move on to this final game. And this is the one that a lot of people are really angry about. Okay. Bengals move to 4-8, and the announcers fall over themselves. The Bengals, are they going to make the play? The Bengals basically have to win out. Could they win out? Sure, they could. Are they likely to do that? Are the Bengals making the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, they're not winning. Their defense is terrible. Held the Ravens in check last night, though. That's probably more about the Ravens, who fall to 6-6. Joe Burrow returns, and he looked good. Physically, he was moving around. He's, able to. He's not Mr. Athletic, and he's not going to be running, 20 yards down the field a lot. But he looked good. He moved around in the pocket, that kind of thing. His performance was just like Joe Flacco. I think Flacco was 270-2 as a Bengal. Last night, Burrow was 261-2. Same thing. Kind of what we predicted here on the show as well. Jamar Chase returned. He had 14 targets, just like Joe Flacco was the quarterback. 7 catches for 110 yards. T. Higgins was out with the head injury. The expectation, I think, is that he'll return for the next game, but you never know with head injuries. We've seen that with C.J. Stroud. Yosavash got in the end zone. Unfortunately, it was his only catch, but he got in the end zone. Michael Tinsley saw 9 targets to 2 for Yosavash, which was very surprising. Jeff Mans did talk a lot about Tinsley this week and said, hey, don't forget this guy. And 9 targets, 2 catches for 22 yards. So a terribly disappointing effort for Tinsley. despite the fact he was on the field the whole time and despite the fact he saw 9 targets. So, it's almost impossible to see 9 targets and catch 2 balls for 22 yards. Like it's really almost impossible to do it. Every once in a while, I'm trying to remember who had 8 targets and caught 1 ball for a 1-yard touchdown. Was it DeVonta Adams earlier this year? Had 8 targets and caught 1 pass for a yard. It was a touchdown. So it happens. But it's almost impossible to turn 9 targets into 2 catches for 22 yards. Again, Higgins being back, you won't want to play Tinsley or Yosavash, obviously, in that scenario. I don't know what the Bengals are doing. All their tight ends are healthy. So Gesicki had 4 targets. Sample had 2 targets. Hudson had 2 targets. Fan had 2 targets. Hudson scored a touchdown. It don't matter. You're not ever playing him. You can't play any of these tight ends. Oh, hello, Dexter. My cats came down to say hi. Hello, Dexter. Rubbed up against my ankle. What a cute little guy. I think you can follow him on Instagram at the Dexter Kitty. You can follow my puppy at Ollie Aussie Dog. You can follow me on social medias at the Ray Flowers. You can't use any of these tight ends. I don't know what they're doing. It's whatever. On the backfield situation, Brown had 15 carries for 78 yards. He caught 7 balls for 35 yards. Another 100-yard from scrimmage game for Chase Brown. Another big game in terms of pass catching for Chase Brown. Like he's just like last year. We talked about this on the show yesterday. Started really slowly, but he's picking things up. And his pass catching is significant. I mean, he's getting 6, 7, 8 points. He's not Christian McCaffrey, but he's getting 6, 7, 8 points a week as a pass catcher. So even if he just does a on defense, on the ground, he's getting you 15 points a week, right? We saw that yesterday. So yesterday he had 10.5 points as a receiver. He had 8 points as a runner, 19 points basically. So really good effort for him there. Interestingly, Samjay Pirine, 14 carries for 39 yards. He caught 2 balls for 15 yards. He had 16 touches. So one back had 16 touches. The other one had 22. 38 touches. 46 pass attempts. They ran a ton of plays yesterday. That's just, teams are hoping to get about 60 plays a game. I mean, what did they ran 80 plays? I mean, I can't even count. I'm all hungover from yesterday. I'm not hungover from yesterday. I'm just kidding. Let me see if I can pull up the actual number here as we're talking. Let me see. 83 plays. Yeah, 83 plays. They're not likely. They're way more likely to run 63 plays than 83 plays moving forward. But that really helped both running backs to have significant workloads, even though P. Ryan didn't do anything with his touches. In terms of the Ravens, and here we go. People are furious with Lamar Jackson. Now, I will say this. When you're paid $1 gazillion and you're supposed to be the face of a franchise and you don't practice, that's a problem. We've talked about that many times. I'm not saying that the reason he's struggling is because he's not practicing. I'm just saying show up and practice. He doesn't. He's clearly physically beat up. Most recently we're hearing toe, but it's like the 3rd or 4th injury he's dealt with this year, right? It's football, man. We're 2/3 of the way through the year. Everyone's hurt. Or everyone's beat up, I'll say. You got to rise above it. Jackson's body language isn't great. He's not running anymore. He ran for 27 yards last week. I think yesterday on the show, Tyler Beaker said the over-under on the rushing prop for Lamar Jackson was like 24.5 yards. Like this guy used to average 50-plus yards a game. He can't run for 30 yards anymore. Didn't do anything as a passer yesterday. He had a couple of fumbles, including an interception. That one fumble, awful, right? Just awful. So, do you start Lamar Jackson? You got to start Lamar Jackson. Like, you going to start Brock Purdy over him? The last 3 games have been bad. The last 3 games for the Ravens on offense have been bad. It's not just Lamar Jackson. The whole offense is stuck in neutral. They don't have they have one consistent pass catcher. It's Zay Flowers. Yesterday, their 2 tight ends went nuts. 6 targets for Andrews. He caught 4 for 47. Likely had 6 targets for 5 catches. So they had 12 targets, 9 catches, 145 yards because they're facing the Bengals. Everyone knows the Bengals defense against the tight end is as bad as there has ever been in the NFL's history. It is atrocious. Not surprising that duo had success yesterday, but likely fumbles the ball at the goal line, turns the ball over. Zay Flowers, who I wrote about in the Coffin Corner piece today over at fantasyguru.com, that look at my in-depth dive in the numbers. Go check that out. I spoke about, because I wrote that yesterday, as I always do. I write it before, and I don't ever include the Thursday night games, Thursday day games in yesterday's scenario. Talked about Zay Flowers and how every week it's 10 PPR points, 10 to 12 PPR points every single week. Yesterday, 2 catches for 6 yards. So the offense is basically bottomed out here. Keaton Mitchell scored the touchdown, but Ali was the one that had all the snaps. Mitchell barely saw the field in comparison to Ali. Ali became the third down back yesterday. Justice Hill's been placed on the injured list. It's bad. Do you drop Lamar Jackson? Hell no. Do you bench him? I mean, there are people, and I've seen this, there are people out there that have Lamar Jackson and Matthew Stafford, right? So there could be a scenario where you're not starting Jackson, but Jackson's going to be a top 10 quarterback every single week. He's probably going to be top 5 every single week. Again, remember, this is part of the problem in fantasy, which I've always talked about. I've been very consistent and clear on this. Part of the problem is the way we record points for quarterbacks. You go for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns, you had a great game. A running quarterback throws for 181 yards, runs for 57 yards. He's got a better fantasy game. So that always is a boost for his outlook. I mean, and here's Henry saying his game log has been pretty bad since coming back. True, absolutely. They just need to give Henry 30 touches. Well, they can't give Henry 30 touches if they can't sustain drives, which is the problem. I mean, we talked about the fact that the Bengals ran 83 plays. They ran 60 plays, did the Ravens. So Henry last night had 100 scrimmage yards and a touchdown, so he was fine, but he only had 11 touches. Their offense is in a bad place right now. And for a defense that also had been trending in the right direction to give up 32 points, Ravens got to be nervous. Still got a chance to win the division, but that was a bad effort yesterday. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk to Russell Clay. Before we get to Russ, we do have a game today. Bears, Eagles, Black Friday football. I'd rather do that than stand in line to buy a toaster oven. This one, let me be clear about my thoughts, which are also Jeff Mann's thoughts, and they're reflected in the rankings. Last week, we had the fumble, fake fumble, maybe a fumble, not really a fumble. I don't know what the hell happened on that fumble with DeAndre Swift. I think it was a terrible call by the refs, but regardless, Swift had a 65% snap share before the fumble, 35% after. So he and Monangai basically flip-flopped their usage. I would anticipate this week going back to what it was. I would anticipate Swift being the lead guy. I would anticipate Swift continuing to get his 15-plus touches. I would look at Monangai as a guy that I don't really want to play. He's got to get a touchdown, which he is apparently the goal line guy. So, okay. But he's going to get you 10, 12 touches for 48 yards. He needs to get in the end zone. Swift is the better option today against the Eagles. At least that's how I see it. That's how the rankings see it. And if you look at the matchup today with the Eagles, the last 6 weeks, Eagles have only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns in 5 games, and they are allowing the 10th fewest points per game on the ground. To the running back, not on the ground, to the running back. So that's not not necessarily an excellent matchup for him. Caleb Williams as a passer, Caleb Williams as a passer, he should be okay, but he's continuing to, just be okay. He hasn't lived up to the expectations we have at fantasyguru.com. I don't have him as a quarterback 1 this week, so I would not be rushing out to play him this week. Hopefully you have a different option. We see Senor Rojo saying I have burden in my flex, but hoping I can put Benson in instead. Time-wise, right? Hopefully we will get in the next couple of hours an update on Trey Benson. We'll talk to Russell Clay here in a few minutes about Benson. As of right now, I'm not getting a good feeling that Benson's going to play. So this is again, the NFL loves to do this, and they'll do it Christmas week too, which is championship week. Spread games all over the calendar. In spreading games all over the calendar, it makes it extremely difficult to set fantasy lineups. Burden to me is not somebody you want to play. I mean, we've been very pro Burden on the show. Jeff Mans has but the rankings haven't been pro Burden because there's still DJ Moore who scored 2 touchdowns last game. There's still obviously Odunze, the number 1 receiver. We have Loveland catching 4 or 5 passes every week. Burden's the 4th receiving option. You don't want to start Burden this week. I would wait on Benson, Senor Rojo. And hope that you have somebody that we have ranked higher than Burden on your roster. I think that's probably a good idea. Oh, Van Williams says Benson is ruled out. Is that true? Let's see. I haven't seen that report again. It hadn't have happened as of. You're right. The report happened 39 minutes ago. It's 31 minutes into the show. I didn't see it right before. Benson has been ruled out, according to Adam Schefter. He will not play this week. Thank you, Van Williams. I appreciate that. I did not catch that before the show began. I was eating pumpkin pie for breakfast. And so Benson's out. So Senor Rojo, it's Burden or somebody else. Let's hope it's somebody else. Because again, I think Burden we have ranked like 55th at wide receiver this week or something. Let me pull that up real quickly before we talk to Russell Clay. This week, Burden 59th. So you don't want to be playing Burden, but you cannot be leaning on Trey Benson to start for you this week. All right. So one other thing on the other side of thing with the Eagles here, play your Eagles receivers, right? DeVonta Smith, we'll talk to Russ about this in a few minutes, but he's been cleared to play. You know that you're going A.J. Brown. You know you're going to play Barkley, despite Barkley being kind of the running back version of Lamar Jackson, a guy who's been tremendously disappointing, but you're going to have to hit him up in the lineup. My NFL Game Day matchup article is available over at fantasyguru.com. Go check that out. You can always send us a note in Discord here this morning as well. You can also sign up for the package. Remember, see it on the screen. Use that promo code GRAVY25, GRAVY25 for a 25% discount on any package over at FG. But we should have folks in Discord if you have questions about who to roll with today moving forward this week. All right. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and this guy said, you know what, Ray? I'm traveling on Thanksgiving, but I'm going to be here for you and the people. I'm going to make it back. I'm going to drive all through the night to make sure I make it back for the show. I will eschew spending time with my friends and family for the people. And he's here. I see him. He's in the green room. He's ready to rock and roll. And he has a beard that looks much better than mine because it's not gray. Also, play at fantasyguru.com. How you doing, Russ?
What's going on, Ray?
How was your Thanksgiving? I'm doing good. I had too much food last night. Fell asleep on the couch, as people often do, at about 8 o'clock. What about you? How was your travels and your day?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. I wouldn't say it was as heroic of a performance as you're trying to narrate right now, but it was pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm glad you're here. I do appreciate that. You saved me, so I don't have to ramble on for an hour by myself. Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com joins us every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Let's dive into some of these storylines here. And, you know, we got the news. Let's start out with the news for Benson. Let's go out of order with what I planned, because Benson's been ruled out this week. And there's other running backs I'll talk to you about in a second here as well, that, you know, people have been counting, waiting on a guy like Trey Benson, and it just keeps going and going and going. What do you do with a player like Benson? You can't drop Benson. We're going to hope he's active next week, all that kind of stuff. But with the delays and the extending out of not playing, can you start a guy like Benson and feel any level of confidence whenever he's actually active?
Just based on my experience, I have a few leagues with Benson. I'm kind of happy he didn't play this week. I do not want to deal with this, because if he did play, I was going to have to play him. And that is the rodeo roller coaster wild card circus I'm not looking forward to dealing with. Right. There is no competition for touches. There's nothing there at all. Michael Carter is a guy they picked up off the street. Bam Knight's hurt. And they have nothing. I mean, it's open applications for touches there. But Trey Benson, a guy who has never started before, the one start he had in his career, he got instantly hurt. So I was not looking forward to this week at all. So I'm actually happy he's not in. And for those of you that have him, which is a lot of you, you're being saved from yourself right now. So this is good. Adjust, find your other option here, and we will move forward. But hopefully the plan, we're trying to land this plane for the fantasy playoffs. 1 or 2 weeks from now, we'll get the ramp up next week, and hopefully, you know, he's fully healthy, ready to go. Maybe gets 15, 20 touches, plays well, and then we'll be ready to go. Same thing with Hampton. Such a sweat. I have a league with him this week, and actually it's the Scott Fish Bowl, and I'm going to roll him out there if I have to, but no guarantee at all.
Yeah, you mentioned Hampton. I mean, what would your expectations be? You said you roll him out there. I have him in the Dynasty League. I will be rolling him out there if he's active as well. We don't know if he's going to play yet. Would you be thinking 15 touches? Would you be thinking 20 touches? Are you thinking 8 touches? Like, where would you be with that?
I have no idea. And you're not supposed to say that. And I'm not supposed to say that. And I'm supposed to professionally lock in. I will say he will be the starter. I do know that. But this Chargers team is half the battle here as well. Kamani Vidal actually played really well overall when you look back at what he had to deal with. But go back to that Jaguars game. The defense fell apart. The offense fell apart, and it had nothing to do with Vidal why he didn't produce. So when I look at Hampton, it's more about game flow and how that goes. I wouldn't want him to get 20 touches, and I don't think Rodgers would either in his first week back. But hey, him and Vidal, it's going to be a committee that first week. But once he gets back a week, I think Hampton is sensational. So I'm looking forward to him beyond next week.
Aoun has got a terrible question to ask here. He does have Hampton. He's waiting on Hampton. So he's wondering, should I roll with Coma Nungai, who I just said, and your thoughts on this too, Russ, that I anticipate him going back to 10 touches and 37 yards on the ground and getting a touchdown. I think Swift is still the lead back with this team. I know people were concerned with last week. So with Hampton, Aoun is wondering, do I go with Monungai today? I've also got Blake Corum and Sean Tucker. Messy. None of those guys are guys I really want to play. I kind of think you got to go with Monungai. I'm not doing it, though. I'm waiting on Hampton. You?
You may be waiting on Blake Corum, but he's not waiting on you. And that is not a guy you can start there. Sean Tucker with Bucky back. Is Bucky back?
Not official, but they're leading toward yes. I mean, again, people have to remember it's Friday morning still. We still got a whole...
This is a nightmare.
Yeah.
There's no good answer for you here, my friend. I would wait on Hampton personally.
All right.
I would not do that. I think the risk reward, I'd rather just play Tucker if Hampton's out than, play Monungai, have Hampton play and lose 30 points.
All right. Henry's got a question here too with Benson now out. Chris Rodriguez or Zach Charbonnet? We'll talk about Terry McLaurin later, so we'll answer that part later. But what are you thinking here? Chris Rodriguez, who apparently has taken over in the backfield with the Commanders. Zach Charbonnet, who we know who he is and what he is, and he's a guy that scores an awful lot of touchdowns without doing a tremendous amount. Rodriguez and Charbonnet actually profile as guys, 10, 13 touches, trying to get in the end zone to really have value here. Do you have a strong preference here with Benson out this week?
I haven't had a strong preference on Zach Charbonnet for the last 3 years, unfortunately. I do start him, and I would start him here, Henry. But, Henry, if you have had Zach Charbonnet all year, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's you put him in there, you go, well, all right, let's do it. And then usually, Henry, within that first half, we do get the Ken Walker brings us 90% of the way, and then we get subbed in there. So it's been all right, Henry. And I know if you have him, it'll be all right if you play Sharp. He'll probably get you 7 to 12 points.
Russell Clay at fantasyguru.com joins us every Friday. Russ, you there? I think you might have frozen. I think we might have got a frozen Russ. Russ is frozen.
I'm frozen.
Oh, there you go. I can hear you now. You're back there. Your face is frozen, but as long as your words still work, Russ, we'll be in good shape. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. All right. We'll continue to roll with this. Russ Clay joins us again every Friday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Devin Neal. What are we getting with Devin Neal? He's now the lead guy in the backfield. I guess there's still a chance that Kamara plays this week, but he's not playing this week. Neal's got an ankle issue, so we're kind of waiting to watch that information too with the ankle. But what are your expectations with Neal? I've said all along, flex option. He should get a fair amount of work, but I'm just really concerned about that offense. And again, Chris Olave's also got a back injury. If he's out, things could even more dicey for the Saints.
Devin Neal, a solid down back or someone who can produce in a PPR type setting. Think of the Theo Riddicks of the world. That's kind of what we're looking for with Devin Neal. So Neal is not someone who's going to get, maybe he does for one game get 25 touches, but I don't envision them using him in a featured way, no matter how long Kamara's out.
Russ, what about DeVonta Smith? We mentioned him earlier. There's some concern. He didn't practice to start the week, and there's some concern. We're now hearing he's been cleared. He'll be out on the football field dealing with the back shoulder, whatever it was. Any concerns with him because of that health scenario, or are you kind of like me saying, yeah, I don't think much has really changed this week for DeVonta Smith?
Yeah, I'm not sweating it. He's generally not someone who misses time, even if he is on the injury report. So, yeah, I'm fine with that for sure.
What about Terry McLaurin? We had a question earlier about Terry McLaurin, and again, it's Friday morning here, so we don't have official reports. But McLaurin certainly is trending toward being active. Looks like he's going to return from his thigh issue. Kind of a little bit of back and forth with someone in Discord about this. A good natured back and forth. And they said, Ray, I heard you on the Elite Sports Show on Wednesday. That's 2 to 5 Monday through Friday on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. And I heard you say you're not really a Terry McLaurin guy this week if he plays. Yeah, I'm not. I don't like going with guys that have missed extended periods of time. I don't like going with guys that have missed periods of time with the same injury multiple times. We have a backup quarterback here as well. Terry McLaurin, I mean, there are some scenarios where you're playing him this week. Sure. I'm not feeling confident even if he's out there. What say you?
Drop him. I'm not dealing with any of that malarkey. He's been a goofball all year. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if he's healthy. Him and Brandon Ayuk are the two, just like they went off into the wilds. And this has nothing to do with football. And with guys like that, when it has nothing to do with football, I mean, maybe he was hurt, but he's been holding out with that contract thing. He's been pissed about that for a year and a half now. So I don't know. I don't want to deal with it. So that's where I'm at. Personally, if he's on the waiver wire, I'd love to see someone else pick him up and try to play him against me. So that's where I'm at. We're at that point in the season where I would rather some of these guys be in other people's lineups. So that's where we're at in the fantasy season.
Yeah, and it's a real question. And I think since we're there, let's answer this question for J-Month, dude. Does your roster construction principles change for playoff weeks? Like I often say, you want one tight end and one quarterback. Like let's not waste a spot all season long, that kind of thing. Some leagues start the playoffs this week, next week, many of them obviously in week 15. Do you change your roster composition strategy, Russ? And if you do in the playoffs, how do you do it?
Unless it's a defense, I really don't change much at all. A lot of leagues don't have waivers in the playoffs or very limited waivers. So I look at it that way. I don't really change much. I'm a set and forget guy. Remember everyone, I'm a set and forget person. So by this time of the year, we are a well-oiled machine driving down the highway, floating down. Those commercials where they're on the mountain and they're just driving down the zigzags there. Mm-hmm. That is me by the fantasy playoffs. This team's in there for a reason. So we're firing away with what got us there. Unless it's like a Josh Jacobs, Emmanuel Wilson situation where, of course that's your handcuff. But again, that guy should have already been on the roster. So yeah, basically do the same stuff that's got you there all year. And the players that got you there are, I look at it like a George Pickens. People still have him in some start sits. It's like, just keep rolling, keep firing. Don't overthink it and go from there.
Yeah. And, I think the only way it would change, dude, would be if you're blocking an opponent that week. Like if you're looking at your opponent and your opponent's tight end is Kyle Pitts and you're looking at this matchup and you're thinking, holy hell, Gadsden's going to the moon this week, right? You're going to pick up Gadsden to block him. Okay. Right. But again, that has to be dependent upon that week. You're not picking someone up now to block somebody in week 15 as an example. Right. So that maybe, if you want to play that game, you could also pick someone up and then drop them because then they usually can't be added until the next week. If you want to be a scumbag, don't do that. But I don't change much either. If anything, as Russ said, remember, even if you're not a handcuff person, handcuff your running backs now. So make that change if you haven't done that already. Run bit harsh. I always have problems. I'm struggling here. Run bit harsh. He's got a question for us. And he's paying $2. So thank you. We appreciate the donation there. Thank you so much. Looking at the matchup this week, obviously Loveland plays today. Later in the week will be Gadsden. Both these matchups are not good on paper. Both the Raiders, oddly, I think it's because they get smashed in other spots, but Raiders are bottom 5 in terms of points allowed to the tight end the last 6 weeks. The Eagles are bottom 5 in the league in points allowed to the tight end position the last 6 weeks. So neither one of them has an obvious matchup. To me, Loveland is like the fourth, fifth option in his offense. You can make the case that, Gadsden's behind 3 wide receivers too. So he's the 4th, 5th guy. I don't think there is an obvious, you've got to do one or the other. If you don't, you're an idiot. I would go Gadsden personally. I think Gadsden is the more explosive player of the two. A lot of Loveland hype is from the one game against the Bengals when the Bengals are atrocious against tight end. The guys ran into each other, fell over on one of those touchdowns. I'd go Gadsden, though he has slowed a little bit here the last couple of games. What say you, Russ?
I'd first like to say, as you are reading and answering that question, love the background. It's a great background. Yeah.
Oh, the turkey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good background.
Thank you.
Run. I see Thrash there. Run. It's not Thrash, but I'm remembering there's a football guy named Thrash. I forget his first name. Loveland or Gadsden?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably go Gadsden, but 2 rookie tight ends emerging into bigger roles. You're going to have to figure that out today. So I would probably go Gadsden and wait. Loveland is still not in a featured fashion in this offense. And it's generally so I like all the individual players. I like Caleb. I like Swift. I like Moore. I like Burden. You mentioned Burden right before I got on. I like Odunze. Most of them have not been fun for fantasy. So that's where we're at with Chicago's offense. I've been staying away. So I'd go Gadsden.
Yeah. And by the way, Drove loves, I see your question. You don't have to put it in there multiple times. We got you. We'll get back to it in a few minutes here. Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com joins us every Friday. Let's talk about it. I'm on Ross St. Brown going down with that ankle injury. We don't know how long he's going to miss. It sounds like a week or 2 is possible with the ankle injury. We saw the touchdown from Tesla yesterday, though he only had 2 targets. Kennedy, because they had no choice. Cleve Raymond's floating around. Like who steps forward? Brock Wright was out with his neck injury. Like all of a sudden, this Lions offense, is Tesla the ad? Do you care? Because a lot of people have said, well, if Jameson Williams goes down, there's Tesla. Amon-Ra St. Brown fills a totally different role in the offense.
So my pretty spreadsheet draft position thing would say, oh my God, Isaac Tesla, 3rd round pick. They brought him in to be like a big weapon in this offense. He's slowly been emerging. Now he's got an injury opportunity. This is the time. However, I know that I've been wrong with making these types of assertions before. I do think it's Isaac Tesla, and I would have some conviction in that, but recognize this is not a, bing straight to what we want every time. So yes, I do think it should be Isaac Tesla. I'm going to be firing with him. I have some pretty solid conviction in this, but overall, the Khalif Raymonds of the world have won weeks before and done all that goofy stuff. So yeah.
Russ Clay, fantasyguru.com. Lamar Jackson. People are pissed. I've even seen people saying Lamar Jackson is throwing games, just talking out their ass. But Lamar Jackson has not been very good recently. In fact, he's been bad recently. And that was a matchup against the Bengals last night. Like that defense is not good. Right. And so and then he's fumbling the ball, looking like a goof out there. Like it's been bad. So where are we at with Lamar Jackson? People are pissed. People want to bench him. People want to throw him out the window. Where are you at with Lamar Jackson?
Listen, we got to stop with this stuff, guys. The gambling. Listen, Lamar Jackson is not gambling on himself to lose in prime time. That is just not something that happens. But what I will say, Ray, I've seen Reggie Wayne in Patriots training camp. I've seen Julio Jones in a Tennessee Titans jersey. And at some point, guys, all our heroes in sports get old. That is not what's going on yet for Lamar. He is hurt. right? And we knew this, and he's come back, and he's Lamar, and they're winning these games, but it's not Lamar, right? We're watching these games. This isn't Lamar, and that's why we're getting some of those comments. That's not Lamar. That's hurt Lamar. And we've just never seen it. He's been Superman since he's come into the league. Now he's 28. He's got 7,000 rushing yards in his career. He's banged up. He's probably always hurt at this point in his career. I remember Ben Roethlisberger. This was years later than where Lamar is, but Ben Roethlisberger was like 35. Ray, remember early Ben where he would just run around in the pocket, take like huge hits and stay up?
Yep.
By the end there, he could still have a good arm, but man, he was beat up.
1.9 seconds, that ball was out.
He could not hang and take those big hits and do all that scrambling anymore. It was get it out. So all these guys get old. And Lamar's game was, so much athleticism, almost like a running back or wide receiver out there sometimes. So now that he can't do that as much because he's hurt, again, this is precursor what it's going to look like Mike Vick when he was 31. So, it is what it is. I'm fine with Lamar. He'll be back, next year and look a lot better than this, but it's been bad.
I don't know how Dr. Olives to hate 69. I don't know. How do we read this, Russ? Another donation here. Thank you so much for that, by the way. Is it Dr. Olives spelled wrong? Doctor loves to hate 69.
Doctor loves to hate 69.
Yeah, okay.
What a name.
Yeah.
That feels like a 1990s slang.
Rap
I don't
group?
know. Yeah.
Here's the question. Need a wide receiver and 2 flex. Sutton, McMillan, Olave, Waddle, Genty, Warren, Harvey. The answer is yes. All these guys should be starting. Period. Okay. As of right now, we don't know if Chris Olave is going to play. I think they're thinking he plays the back injury, but we don't know right now if he's going to play. Waddle is a wide receiver 1. I don't know how you bench him when he's a wide receiver 1. Genty, yeah, he hasn't been what we expected, but he scores a touchdown almost every week. Like, he gets in the end zone an awful lot. Harvey is the lead back for his team. Warren is obviously a strong tight end play. McMillan, a very good pass catcher, producing really good numbers in a very poor overall offense through the air. And then Sutton. So I got to play Waddle and Genty, me. I got to have those 2 guys in, and then it's the third guy for me. What about you? There's a lot of names here, Russ, and all of them, they're all good plays.
I would start Genty and Tet every week, and I would cross out most of this. You're deciding on one guy here. Genty and Tet play every week for me in this, and it's between Olave and Waddle, and I'd probably go Waddle. This is a great situation to have, Dro. But yeah, I would just go with that, and I would play Genty every week. I know it's not fun, but he has been using the receiving game to get us fantasy points more this past couple weeks. So keep an eye on that. They also fired good old Chip Kelly, Chip Kelly, his destiny is just to go to some random college in the MAC, like Marshall, or you know what I'm saying? Like right. Mike Leach, he was never really an NFL guy. He was just kind of a goofball. Chip Kelly is fun for what he is, but it's not working in the NFL. So
he got paid like $6 million, right? Like, he got paid a lot of money.
Oh, he's made a bag. And it's great. Between the Eagles and this stint and his stuff at Oregon, I mean, he's doing just fine. So we can laugh and just say, now's your time. Go to the MAC. Go to wherever, run your goofy offense, try new plays, innovate, and leave us alone at the NFL.
Dro loves to hate 69. It's probably how it's pronounced. Just to confuse things a little bit, especially since you asked, I would go Waddle, Genty, and Warren. I would go Warren over Ted McMillan. That's me. But again, there's all these guys really should be starting. You just have a bounty of options for yourself this week. Russ, what about Daniel Jones? He's got a broken leg, but he's going to play, huh? Yeah. Huh? Anything?
Did you see the video yesterday, Ray?
Which
Of
one?
him waddling around like he just hit a counter.
Yeah.
That I was like, I know that walk.
Right.
That's the walk right after I hit my shin on some type of furniture.
Right.
That is the walk, but that's just how he's walking right now. That's crazy. He should not be sit out. That's insane.
Yeah.
And it's not like he walked it off and it was fine. It was like that's how he was walking. Release the Kraken. Give us AR. He'll complete 4 of 25 passing attempts, and we'll have a fun day. I mean, I want to see AR. So
I can't believe he ended up on the injured reserve list, had to have surgery and all that because he got hit in the eye with a band. And it broke his orbital bone or something. It wasn't his eyeball. It was the like, how does your orbital bone get? Because I use bands for my shoulder. Like, wow. Like, talk about a guy who's soft.
Is that what happened to AR?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. He was doing band work and he got snapped in the eye.
So they have Riley Leonard back there, right?
Riley
Leonard would be next in line if it's not AR.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do?
What'd you think with Joe Burrow yesterday? About as expected?
32 passing attempts in the first half. That's close to the record. Right. The record's 37. So they said, Joe Burrow, we don't care if you're healthy. We're going to fire you in there. So they are live. They could get to 9-8, right? So they're live. They're going to run. They're going to fire it. So we'll see.
Scott Kobe, I don't know. RG8YJ, I don't know. Parker Washington, Deebo Samuel, and Michael Pittman. Pittman is in the lineup right now. I think Pittman is the right call. You agree with that, Russ? And if it's not Daniel Jones, you still going Pittman?
I am. Here's the thing with Parker Washington. They brought in Jacoby Myers to take on the featured role. The funny thing is Parker Washington's just saying, no, I'm not allowing this to happen, and he's playing amazing. So I would still go Pittman either way, but Washington has not gone to the bench like I expected.
I don't know. Everyone's feeling very, very giving today. I really appreciate that. We have another one. Senor Rojo also donating money. I'm going to buy a new car, guys. That's $5. Let's go. DK, Tamari DK. Where do we have him ranked this week? DK is a really intriguing player, especially, you all know this, if you're in a return yardage league, because he's killing it there. He's seemingly ripping off a 40-yard return every week, frequently going longer than that, getting in the end zone, all that kind of stuff. Ridley is down. Io Manor still. Ward looked a little bit better last game. Okay. DK to me is somebody that, hey, I like this kid, and things are looking good, and I think his future is starting to grow with this team. I don't want to start him, right? Like, I've got him in one league. I don't want to start him. I think that there is a path to success with him. I'm looking at our rankings this week against Jacksonville. We have him ranked 54th at wide receiver, Russ. So the rankings aren't really supportive. I'm not really supportive because there's no volume here, really. It's 4 catches, and hopefully he breaks the tackle for a touchdown. So I think he's kind of, I have no other choice, and maybe I'll get a hit versus, I want to start this guy with confidence. What say you?
Senior Rojo knows ball. He's been watching the Titans. He looks great. DK looks great. The problem, Senior Rojo, is there's knowing ball and then there's fantasy football, right? So, Ray, we get caught in this all the time where a guy looks good, but he's either not in the offense or he's like half of the appeal for DK and the Titans is he looks amazing on special teams, which
absolutely
doesn't help us. So I like DK a lot. He looks fantastic, as I said, Rose. So you're onto something. For fantasy, though, it's really tough to get too excited about him. He does make big plays. If you want to play him as a desperation flex play, I could get down with that. But again, I'm still staying away from the Titans here for the most part. Cam Ward does look better though. So DK, I get it. But I don't want to deal with it unless I'm really desperate.
Remember, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. Use the promo code GRAVY25, GRAVY25, for for a 25% discount on any of the products over at fantasyguru.com. Thank you, by the way, for the 3 donations today. Really appreciate it. That's a record, Russ, 3 in one day. So we're rolling. Yes. David's got a question here. Need 3. And again, the answer to all is yes. All these guys are every week starters. They should just be set in your lineup. Russ talked about this earlier. They should just be set in your lineup and not worry about it. Swift is in. I'm playing Swift today. We need 3 of these 4 guys. I'm just going to start Swift. I'm just going to start Genty. So then it's Pittman or Olave. Because we don't know Olave's health for sure at this point, I think you have to start Swift. Because if you don't start Swift and then we find Olave's out, so that might mean we end up benching a guy that we'd rather play, but I think you've got to go with Swift and then decide 2 of the next 3. And again, I'm going to both the running backs, so that means my third guy's Pittman.
It feels like, Ray, there's a people had Swift when he was in Detroit. People had him in Philly, and they're just overall disappointed with this man. I would go Swift, Genty, Pittman there, but yeah, I think you got to roll with Swift for today.
And, just to say it too to David, and Russ knows this, right now, DeAndre Swift is running back 17. And he missed a game against the Bengals where his running mate, Monungai, ran for 176 yards. Swift had just a normal 19-touch, 80-yard week that game, caught a couple of passes. He jumped from running back 17 to like running back 13. Just boom. I get it. We really talked him up over at FG this year, but he's a top 20 running back, and that's the price you paid for him. So that fake fumble last week, I guess, has got a lot of people really nervous, Russ.
I guess. Yeah. And again, he's a good but not great player. And where you drafted him, you're making good value right now based on where you drafted him before the season.
Russ Clay joined us every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have a lot of fun. We joke, we laugh, we smile, we answer your questions. Thank you for all being here today on Black Friday. Enjoy the football game later today. Remember, Discord's open right now. If you got questions over at fantasyguru.com, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner. Email us at support@fantasyguru.com. Use the promo code you see on the screen there, Gravy25, Gravy25 for a 25% discount on anything, football product or not. That would mean the full season football package that we're offering right now for $99.99 comes $75. That includes seasonal, wagering, and DFS football for the rest of the season. So you might want to check that out. Russ, again, thanks for getting on the show today. We appreciate it. Enjoy your leftovers. Enjoy the game today. Enjoy the weekend. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Ray.
He's Russell Clay. I'm Ray Flowers. Go over to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio for the Elite Sports Show, 2 to 5 Eastern, Monday through Friday. And again, that football game starts in about 2 hours as well. For us, I'm Ray. We'll see you back here on Monday as we review the Sunday game action on Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.